This is Senior Algebra, Section 2.4, Solving Word Problems. Today we're going to look at the 6 steps for solving a word problem and look at some different types of problems. So we start with the steps here. The first one, read the problem. Okay, take a minute, read through the whole problem in its entirety. Then we're going to take a look and assign some variables here to represent the unknown values. After we do that, we're going to write the equation, then solve it, and step 5 and 6 are kind of together. We look at it and say, does the answer make sense? So taking a look at example 1, it says, if 2 is subtracted from a number and this difference is tripled, the result is 6 more than the number, find the number. So first of all, what are we looking for? We read the problem. We're looking for a number. Okay, so we want to assign a variable to that number. We're going to use x. After we've done that, now we're going to do the stuff that we've been doing before. We're going to translate the sentence. So the result is, that's our equal sign. I have 6 more than a number. So that looks like that's going to be on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I have 2 subtracted from a number, and the difference is tripled. So there I get the 6 more than is plus. So 6 plus x on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, 2 subtracted from a number. Okay. Well, that's going to be, now is it 2 minus x or x minus 2? Well, we're taking 2 away from something, so it's going to be the x minus 2 there. So we're taking 2 away, we subtracted 2 from x. It says the difference is tripled. The difference, the answer I get when I subtract. So I want to triple whatever I got there. So I'm going to multiply by a 3 here. From there, we simply solve the equation. We're going to distribute 3x minus 6, 6 plus x. I'm going to move my constants to one side, my variables to the other. In this case, I'm going to subtract x. I'm going to move the x's over to the left-hand side so that they are positive. I get 2x minus 6 equals 6. When I add 6 to both sides, I get 2x equals 12. And then when I divide by 2, I'm going to get x equals 6. So in this one, we take a look, is that a reasonable answer? Okay. In this problem, there's not as much context as we will have in some of the later problems. So it's not like, okay, what's the time and I got a negative answer. Well, that wouldn't make sense in the context of the problem here. So we plug it back in. If I do 6 minus 4, I get, or 6 minus 2, I get 4. 4 and 3 is 12. 6 plus 6 is 12, yes. So 12 equals 12. I plug it back in, it does work there. So in example 2, says in 2004, the Olympic Games, the U.S. won 40 more medals than China. The two countries won a total of 166 medals. How many medals did each country win? So if I'm thinking about it, it says the two countries won a total of 166 medals. We want to figure out how many medals USA won, how many medals China won. So looking at this, do I know how many USA won? What does it say? The U.S. won 40 more than China. Do I know how many China won? No. So that's going to be our variable, our x, and then USA won 40 more than, so I'm going to put x plus 40. I could have done it a little bit differently. I could have had USA for x, and then China as x minus 40. That would have worked as well. The two countries won a total of 166 medals, so they have a total. Well, the number of China medals plus the number of USA medals is equal to 166. So now I just plug in what my variables are, what my expressions are. So China, that's x, USA, x plus 40, and now I solve it. X and x is 2x, so I get 2x plus 40 is 166. I'm going to move the 40 over, so I'm going to subtract 40. And I get 2x equals 126. When I divide each side by 2, I get x is 63. So I think about that x is 63. 63 metals, okay? Does that make sense in the logical case of the problem? Yes. Did I come up with a negative answer? Negative 63 metals? No. So you want to make sure your answer makes sense in the context of the problem. So I have x is 63. I go ahead, I look back up. So that means that China won 63 medals. The USA won 60 plus 63 plus 40, or 103 medals. Notice if I add them together, what do I get? 103 plus 63 is 166. So my answer in a sentence that I should write is the USA won 103 medals. China won 63 medals. So I do want you to write some sort of statement at the end, incomplete sentences, that tells you what happened for each of them. So the USA won 103 medals, and China won 63. And that would be the final part that we're looking for there. In the next example, example 3, it says a lawn trimmer used a mixture of gasoline and oil. The mixture contains 16 ounces of gas for each ounce of oil. The tank holds 68 ounces of the mixture. So the two things I have, gas and oil. I don't know how much either, but what does it say? The mixture contains 16 ounces of gas for each ounce of oil. So if I had 16 ounces of gas, I'd have 1 ounce of oil. What if I had 2 ounces of oil? How much gas would I need? Well, I need 32. What about 5 ounces of oil? Well, it'd be 5 times 16. So I don't know how much oil I have. I'm going to use X. But I do know that the gasoline is 16 times as much. So that's where I get the 16X from. It says the tank holds 68 ounces of the mixture. So when it's full. So I can say the gas plus the oil is going to equal 68 ounces. Now I replace oil and gas. I plug that in. So gas is 16x, oil is x. When I add them together, I get 68. I get 17x is 68. I'm going to divide each side by 17. And x is going to equal 4. Now, what does that 4 stand for? The 4 is 4 ounces of oil. Right? I look back up. I say gasoline is 16 times 4. That's 64. So I look at my two answers. 4 ounces of oil, 64 ounces of gasoline. Does the answer make sense? Yeah, in the context of the problem. Okay, we didn't get more, we didn't get 152 ounces. Okay, it makes sense because we only have 68 total. The sentence, well, what am I talking about here? How many ounces does it require when it is full? Okay, so I want to write a sentence that incorporates the two answers. So, possibility, okay. The tank requires 4 ounces of oil, and 64 ounces of gasoline for a full tank. And yep, it's when it's full. Okay, yep. In example 4, we're looking at a woodworking project. Calls for 3 pieces of wood. So if I have 3 pieces, that means I have 3 unknowns here. The longest piece must be twice the length of the middle. Shortest is 10 inches shorter than the middle-sized piece. So I have a long piece, a middle piece, and a short piece. Well, I want to figure out what's going to be my single variable. What's going to be my x? So what does it say about the long? Longest is twice the length of the medium. Okay, well, I don't know the medium yet, so we'll go on to the next. What does it say about the middle? Middle piece, nothing. It's all in relation to that. The shortest piece, 10 inches shorter than the middle. So it looks like the key piece that I'm looking for is that middle piece. I don't know what it is. That's going to be my x. Everything is going to work off of that middle piece. So when I'm looking at this, if x is the middle piece there, how can I describe the longest piece and the shortest piece? So the longest piece, okay, it says twice the length of the middle. Well, the middle is x, and twice that length is 2 times x. The shortest piece, about 10 inches shorter than the middle. 10 inches shorter then, so it's smaller. So I take my middle piece and I subtract 10, x minus 10. Now it says that you have a 70-inch long board that you want to use. So the total is 70 inches. The longest plus the middle piece plus the shortest piece will give you 70 inches. So I take that and I'm going to put in my variables now, my expressions here. The short piece, x minus 10. The middle piece is x. The long piece, 2x. And I know they combine to equal 70. So I put those together, x and 2x is 4x, 4x and negative 10. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. 4x equals 80, so x is 20. When I get x is 20, now I'm going to plug it back in to find what the shortest piece is and what the longest piece is. So if the middle is 20, then the longest piece, 2 times 20, well, that's 40. Shortest piece, 20 minus 10, or 10. Okay, does your answer make sense? The longest is 40, middle is 20, shortest is 10. They add up to 70, yes. You know, it's one of those, did I get for my shortest side 50 and the longest side 12? No. Okay, make sure that the correct order is followed there. It says the longest board is 40 inches. The middle board, which we found in our original equation, was 20 inches, and the shortest board is 10 inches. Again, it makes sense. The longest one is 40, middle 20, shortest 10. They add up to 70. That's that kind of last two steps. Does the answer make sense in the problem here? Example 5 says find the measure of an angle whose supplement is 10 degrees more than twice its complement. So we have to, when we talk about supplement and complement, what do we have? Well, when we talk about complement is two angles that will add to 90 degrees. So if we look at angle 1 and angle 2, they are considered complementary angles. If we look at supplementary, supplements you get bigger, complement you play a smaller role. So supplementary is two angles that add to 180 degrees. You did this in geometry a little bit. So one thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch this. If we want to talk about the complement of an angle, if one angle is 10 degrees, what would the complement be? Well, if I know they add up to 90, angle 1 and angle 2 equal 90. If one of them is 10, then the other one would have to be 80. Now, how can I show that algebraically? To find or to write the complement, I'm going to take 90 degrees minus x. 90 minus x. So if an angle is x, the complement of the angle is 90 minus x. The supplement of the angle, if the angle is x, the supplement is 180 minus x, because again, they have to add to 180 degrees. So now that we have that, that's the toughest part in these problems. So now it says, find the measure of an angle whose supplement, oh, what do we use for the supplement? 180 minus x is, that's equals 10 more than, so I'm adding 10 plus something. And then it says twice the complement. Well, the complement is, 90 minus x, and twice that is 2 times that. So from here I'm going to solve. I'm going to distribute 10 plus 180x, or 180 minus 2x, equals 180 minus x. Move my x's over to one side, combine like terms. So I add 2x to both sides. I get 180 plus x equals 190. So x equals 10. So I could say that the measure of the angle is 10 degrees. Now, it's a key in this one, find the measure of the angle. Okay, it may ask you this, what is the measure of the supplement of the angle, or what's the measure of the complement? So you have to be careful on these problems. What is it asking you to find here? Okay, it's asking me to find the measure of the angle, so the measure of the angle is 10 degrees. All right, last problem here. This problem talks about consecutive integers, consecutive even integers, consecutive odd integers. We'll take a look at this in the notes the next time, but we want to just talk about this one here. So it says 2 pages that face each other in a book. So they face each other, which means their numbers are right next to each other. Page 72 and 73, page 148 and 149. Also all examples of pages that are facing each other. So we have page 1 plus page 2 says they have the sum of 249. Now, what are the numbers? Well, we don't know, but page 1, okay, I don't know what that is. We could say x. But what do I know about page 2? It's right next to it. When we say right next to it, it's what? 1 more than that. So if page 1 we're going to use as x, page 2, the next number, okay, it's the number that faces each other, the next number will be x plus 1. So that's what I'm going to use, x and x plus 1 here. And that equals 249. Now, are there different ways to kind of solve this problem? Yes. Okay. But we do want to get used to the fact of using x and x plus 1, x plus 2, that type of variables here. We do want to set up an equation for this. When we do, we have 2x equals 248, so x is 124. What does x stand for? X is the first page, so what's the second page? X plus 1. So I have page 1 is 124, page 2 is 125. So I could say something along the lines of some sentence that says the 2 consecutive pages are page 124 and page 125. Page 1 is number 124, page 2 is number 125. The last thing that I want you to do, in the bottom right-hand corner, I want you to put your favorite color. So in the bottom right-hand corner, put your favorite color. Write that down as well. Have a good day.